Hello everybody, just saying a few words here now. I'd like to thank us all immensely, or I don't know what word to put on it, for all you've done. I'd like to keep my words simple because everyone can understand it. I don't want to give you any big words. I used to do that when I was teaching a while, and I was caught on once with an inspector. He says, kids wouldn't understand that word. One word is industrialisation. So we have to understand it's very simple. Like, I try to be as simple in my sermons as I can and get to the point. I don't believe in giving you 20 minutes of a sermon if there's no need for it. And if you bring up too many points from a reading to the weekend, you get nowhere because people look out the window and don't listen to you. I do insist in the prayers of the faithful people sit down and put their head down, if possible, and close their eyes so they can think of what they're doing and praying for, because it must come from your heart. It's no good just getting it out like in a hurry and saying blah, 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 blah. That type of thing is no good. But it's not for me to judge, but it's nice if you can be more sincere with your making the prayers of the faithful, and I like people to sit down for that reason. I thank Father George, or Papa Mario Bergoglio, for allowing priests to give absolution. Why not? I would give absolution for any sin. And we've a papal mandate which is made out. That's how we come about. And I am the next man to the patriarch in our area, and they don't say I'm the right hand man. But we will absolve people. Like, anyone can make a mistake. You must show mercy. Paul, the famous apostle, he did a lot of work which mightn't have been up to standard, like killing people, and I just haven't a note of all he did, but he was converted. He was going down the road to Damascus, and he just took it one day into his head, right, I'm wrong. So you must love people. It doesn't go around. People. Some of the younger population get confused when I say love people. It's not going around about making love with them. It's about showing love like Christ would. You do a turn for them and you're not looking for something back. But Jesus always recognises what you do, and you will be rewarded in some way. When you do a good turn, it comes back in you. But don't be doing bad turns. And also annoying yourself about what someone's doing or not doing, and you're only annoying yourself because what they're ever doing, let them face God, and don't be so judgmental, and that includes myself. So I'd like to thank us all very much. And don't get the disillusion, because if you've apostolic lineage, you come from the apostles, and you can link down where you come from. And we come from Archbishop Tuck, and you go way back to the Chaldeans, and way back further, possibly Thomas was our original man, because he went to India. And the Chaldeans, when it didn't work in Grenoble anyhow. So the point about it is, the hands are laid on, and I like the Pope, and the Pope, he doesn't hate me, he likes me. So he's the top man in the Vatican. I'd be afraid to go over there because I don't want to finish up to be the last Pope. I'm joking. There'll be no fear of that. He's a good man. It was always a tough time in the church. I think it was 29, the Vatican State came up. There was always ups and downs, So it wasn't easy. When they built churches years ago, people, I don't know why they built the spires so high up, but there's a lot of work and a lot of money, not wasted, but maybe could have been spent better. People starving and that. So a priest's job is a vocation. It's not a career. And you're there to serve. And you don't need a big Rolls Royce of a car. I drive an oldest car. And I'm not charging people for services. Although I know if you're... I work as a hermit bishop, and on my overhead's handy. But you have to survive. I live a simple life, and that's all I want. You can't take money with you. Some people think you can. And a lot of our politicians today, sadly, all parties have voted for abortion, which to me is it's murder. And the younger population think they're right to do that. They get dressed up for First Communion, go to the church, and they don't really seem to understand the depth of it, what faith's about. And if you've no faith, it's a null if you're dying and you think you have nothing to go to. Well, there's a man said to me in a surgery one day in Uri, he says, I think anyone that dies, he says, and he didn't know what I was a bit, because from plain clothes I had somebody in, I was taken to the doctor outside in Uri. And he said it's an awful empty life. I had to agree with him, but I didn't have to agree with him, but I did agree with him. Because it's good when you have a feeling of faith, you feel happy. And you're helping people. I feel very happy, even though sometimes I lost a lot of money. And I put myself out of the door, helping people, but that's life. So thank you all very much. You're all a wonderful people, and I mean that from this here of the heart. Because there's none of us saints, as the fella says in the sense. There's none of us sinless. We always commit some sins. You live in the real world, and it's not easy. But we trust you're doing your best, and God love each and every one of you. And maybe if you're going to the Pope's 2 days in Ireland, I won't be attending, but I'll be there in spirit with him, and I might meet him somewhere down the way. But there was too many there for me, and I'll have me ordinary days, curious I can tend with. And I have arthritis at the moment, and it's a nuisance. But please God, it'll not be long till I get able to move again. So I thank you all very much once again. God bless each and every one of you, and there's some very genuine people in my friends list. But I do not believe in any party that supports murder, because it's murder more than a child in the womb, and no getting away for it. And I heard a DUP man, what he used to be DUP, Jim McAllister, and Jim Wright, he says it's murder. So I'm saying it's murder, it is murder. Because once you kill a life and there's a heart beating in it and that's murder. At the moment, there was a TD, or a politician speaking on Cooley Community Alert, and he was giving out hell about some flower that was damaged in Connacht, but we know it's not the thing to do to damage property. But he wasn't concerned when there were more than kids in the room, and there's certain, it's like double standards. I don't know what way to say it. To be quite honest with you, most politicians, they go where they make the money. That's where utilitarianism falls down. I used to speak about that years ago. People didn't know what I was talking about. Some people. It's the philosophy in which democracy is built. Now, democracy isn't the perfect thing either. But what is perfect? Like when people lived in the jungle years ago, it was a very primitive life, and you had plants, etc. And it's a better standard of life now, I suppose, and more healthier and that. But a lot of us don't like the laws. We've far too many laws in Europe, and to be quite honest with you, I see a big problem for all the states that's in Europe. They should want to have all their own independence, not this European court thing, and the armies then joining up. I don't approve of that. I think they're looking for over 1 billion extra European government from the Irish state this year. Well, that's out the window, because we haven't got it, because there's going to be cuts. There'll be cuts in the budgets, and like a lot of things I'm on, like for example the drug task force, they're cut to the limit, and expenses are getting bigger every year, and more people coming on board. You can't do it. It's like you're trying to. The whole problem, to be honest with you, in Ireland was we hadn't the right men there when we were dealing with the Brexit, because there should have been more crafty. We need Donald Trump, and you don't say what you like about him, but he has some great points, and they shouldn't have been paid. The bankers get paid, and what are they doing? Making a profit. People's frigged out of their homes, good simple Irish people, or wherever they're from, not all, So it's terrible, it's very cruel, and the European law, it's not on for all. Too many rules is a banana straight, or as an onion, this put you straight in the head. And a lot of people are fed up in business, too many rules and regulations, it's getting worse. So it's past time we pull the plug on it, and help of God, I pray that Britain will be a good leader at showing how to control their own destiny. Get friends with the United States, get friends with the Soviet Union, get friends with everybody, and not making divisions in that way, but still control your own individual governments. You have to control your own social welfare, but they still get they don't control the whole thing. If you lose money, you have to stand up on your own 2 feet. So it's not a great thing, the Europe. There's some good points about it, but it's not a great thing. In general, like controlling people and the elite controlling it, certain major big investors worth billions, and they're not elected and they get into it. And if you're in the European Parliament, you're wasting your time shouting if you're not with the crowd. We've only a few reps from Ireland, I suppose, and different other small countries too. It's not the answer. So I have to say, personally, with my knowledge and understanding, I studied quite a bit. It's out. DC is not the thing. We shouldn't have got too deep, and it was all right. We started just the trading first, but it's gone too deep. So I wish you all well and pray that you'll all pray for a good outcome for the lot, and that this Brexit system works out. Because I can see a hard bother coming. It couldn't work because Europe won't accept it. And Ireland might want to say, well, where should we be? Should we be aligned to Britain? A lot of people will be getting mad over that. But to be quite honest with you, Ireland would be better if you had our 32 county government here in the Commonwealth country and working with Britain, trading and out the hell of the Europe and make their own arrangements. Because there's 53 member states in the British Commonwealth now, and I think that's the way forward. It's what you like, and let other countries join together that suits together, you know. So I'm going to go now because I have spoke too long, 12 minutes. God bless each and every one of you. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Bye.